Holding Grand Central hostage at rush hour? Now that's criminal. Hulk, you have to remember to look before you leap.
Alright, so we're catching up with Phil here from TT Games and obviously the big star, the Hulk, to find out a little bit more about LEGO Marvel superheroes. Obviously, when you think of this, it's like, what took you guys so long? I think almost every time I talk about a new TT Games LEGO game, it's like, well, this is so self-evident. Why haven't I done it before? But finally, things have come together. You're doing a Marvel game. Can you tell us a little bit about the basics of this and what people can expect?
Sure. So yeah, it's very kind of hit the nail on the head there with people kind of wanting this game and expecting this game because it's one of these franchises that's just so big and so much kind of reach that a lot of people are really excited about it. So for LEGO Marvel Superheroes, we wanted to cover that. We wanted to make sure that we were covering the whole kind of Marvel spectrum of characters and families. So we've got not just like Iron Man and Hulk and Spider-Man. We've got like X-Men appear, so Wolverine's there, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye. So there's kind of a huge range of Marvel characters, and we wanted to kind of use them all to make them kind of a really exciting game for people. So like in the very first level of the game, you'll play as Hulk, Iron Man and Spider-Man, and then the next level you might play as Captain America and Wolverine, and then the level after that you'll be Black Widow, Hulk and Hawkeye again. And so kind of being able to have that switching around with the characters but making them all feel like they're unique and kind of special characters. And that's what we want to do, really kind of take these new mechanics, these new worlds, and say, right, let's make LEGO Marvel Superheroes, which takes place in LEGO Marvel New York, and then have this brilliant story that's kind of following all these heroes and bad guys as they're kind of matching up and fighting. So
I think one of the big differences between, say, the other propositions that you've done in Marvel is just the range here and sort of how some of the characters were created like way back, and others are much newer, much more sort of this day and age. I mean, something like, you know, the difference between Hulk or a Hulk or Captain America and someone like Deadpool, for instance, it's kind of huge. And to put them all in one game and make it coherent, is that something of a challenge?
Well, yeah, it's kind of one of these things that we sat there going, okay, now how do we intertwine all these characters? Because we're pulling in all these worlds into one location and go, right, now fight off each other. And it's great for us, actually, because it means that we can do some really cool ideas and say, right, okay, what would happen if Hulk goes up against someone else that he doesn't normally fight against, and where does this change? And we wanted to have the classic matchups, so people like Hulk versus Abomination, and those kind of like iconic ones that people know about. But then we get to do kind of the sillier ones as well, and going, well, what would happen if this person fought this person? So there's a lot of cool things, like some of the X-Men characters when they're coming up against people like Magneto. You might have a bad guy and Iron Man, and all these kind of cool twists within the story. And that's what really it adds this kind of be able to have this sort of giant kind of like toy box of characters and just go, right, now figure things out, put them together, do a story, and do an original story as well to kind of cover these characters' locations and the world that we're playing in.
So which LEGO game is this in the running order? Do you know the number? Which?
Oh no, we don't have a clue anymore. We listen to what the fans want us to make and sit there going, oh, we'd love to see this game, we'd love to see that game, and so we're always just kind of moving along and going, right, let's focus on this now. Let's make this the best game that we possibly can. Let's make some really cool things that people won't have seen. Kind of try and push the tech, try and push the characters. But yeah, from a number point of view, I don't know, we'd have to count them up.
So let's just, for argument's sake, say it's number 12 or whatever. You have built sort of a foundation that people expect from every game to deliver. Lots of characters. Now you've added sort of the open world elements, and you got in the co-op, of course, sort of foundation pillars that everyone expects from a LEGO game. But you don't want it to feel just like a reskinned version of something you've already done. So how do you strike that balance?
Well, yeah, it's always really important to us. We know that there's some kind of core things that make a LEGO game what they are. So being able to have that kind of experience where people get to play together, the characters you mentioned, the humour, the kind of family-friendly environment, but not kind of like talking down to the people. We want these games to feel like it's an authentic Marvel experience. So they're all kind of really important pillars for us. And then it's about pushing the tech, being like, okay, well, what can we do that's different? What would people not be able to expect? So being able to add things like, okay, we've got the whole of New York City to explore, and it's a Marvel version. Let's do more with it, though. Let's have Spider-Man being able to swing around the different buildings and land on rooftops. Let's have these interior sections where you can go and explore, which will be Marvel themed, so there'll be additional content there that you can kind of look around and really kind of make things that are bigger and better. And where we're kind of pushing the platforms and being able to do it on the new kind of Xbox 360, PS3 and Wii U, it means that we get to do more with the technology as well. So we're really trying to make it kind of a bigger and better experience with more things happening, more people to fight, more LEGO to interact with. So
Yeah, I still think you have like a dizzying array of different platforms you are supporting, but you have cut it down a little bit, and the reason for that is to sort of push the tech more.
Yeah, it's one of these things that as kind of generations come and go, you know that we have to move on if we're doing bigger and better things, that sometimes some of the older hardware might not be able to keep up. So we're sat there and gone, right, well, this is the game that we're now pushing. We're making a jump to a new set of kind of engine for internally. Let's do things bigger and better so that we can make that bigger and better experience for people.
So it's kind of obvious because when you're mixing all these characters, there's no movie, there's no comic book, there's nothing sort of, there's no blueprint for the story, right? So can you tell us a little bit about what the story is and sort of how it came about?
Sure. So we were working with a writer, Mark Hoffmeyer, who's been fantastic, and we've been sat there going back and forth on the story and the way the characters interact with each other and the way that they Lego versions of these characters would exist in the world, because they're going to be slightly different to what you see in the film, slightly different to the comic. And then just kind of being able to wrap all these characters together and have these matchups in a story that kind of makes sense and it's got the drama and the peril that people want. So it's been a really fun process for us, and we've got this kind of great story that covers a whole range of not only just the kind of characters but also the locations that people expect from these different kind of character families. So there's X-Men themed places, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Spider-Man. You get to go to all these different locations, which would be very kind of cool for the fans, because they sit and go, oh yeah, I know that place. This is a Lego version of this world or this location, and then we get to tell our story as we're going through all these different places. So.
And just as important as the heroes, of course, the villains. Can we touch on that? What can we expect from that? And will you be playing them in sort of the main story missions as well, or are they only like unlockable characters? So
I can't go into too many details with the villains, unfortunately, just to the nature of the story. We've got some really cool things that happen, some really cool bad guys get introduced, some really interesting things are happening, especially as you kind of hit the climax of the story. So I can't go into too many details of it, but
we don't want you to spoil it anyway.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's one of these things that we want to tell people, but you kind of want also them to play it. They want to play it. They want to experience that story as it unfolds for themselves. So.
But you will definitely be able to play as the villains at some point.
Yes, definitely. It's one of these things, especially even just from a kind of free play perspective, we want to be able to play as heroes and villains. You want to run around as Loki. That's cool. You use his abilities, and I mean the heroes and the villain side has always been really important for Lego titles. So.
All right. So what's the schedule ahead for Lego Marvel superheroes?
It's a busy one. So we haven't released announced a release date yet, but we're kind of like, this is the first time we're showing any kind of playable content. We're very excited. We're hopefully going to be showing more and more as more and more bits and pieces and locations and levels and characters are revealed. But yeah, so it's going to be an exciting time.
Okay, so one thing that you've added to the most recent Lego games is voices, sort of going away from your characteristic sort of sounds. And what kind of voice acting can we expect from this? Are you going to bring in some of the sort of the voice acting from the movies, or are you doing your own thing?
So the voices, yeah, it's something that we've added relatively recently to Lego titles, and it's still kind of like a learning process for us. So we did things differently in kind of Batman to Lord of the Rings, and now we're doing something again that's different for Marvel. We wanted to make sure that it feels fresh and it's still fun, and we can still have all the jokes and the humour within the world that people would expect. For the actual cast of the characters, we're actually still working on it. So there's still some things in discussion. I can't go into too many details once again, but we're hopefully got some exciting things that we really hope that people are going to kind of get behind, especially fans of the Marvel universe, and be like, oh, I know why this is like this, and why they're picking these people. So, yeah, so it's really exciting, and we're hoping that people are going to really enjoy the kind of the voiceover side of things. So.
Spider-Man, there's always a place in this operation for a hero like you.
Like I have time for that. I've got a trigonometry exam tomorrow. My aunt needs me to pick up a dozen eggs, and I'm drowning in angst.
So, who's behind all this? What exactly are they up to? And will it cut into my jacuzzi time?